Alright, another propaganda checking response to How the World Works. Propaganda checking of another video. That was propaganda. So anyway, guess you'll have to pick who's the bigger propagandist in all of this mess. So anyway, he's picking on this video, this kind of green, you know, tree-huggy kind of excessive video. And it's just, yeah, so he's taking the easy shots and, you know, making a bunch of platitudes, you know, just these, you know, simplistic statements, you know, defining a truth. And it's just that, it's simplistic jargon that doesn't mean anything. So she made some crack in the video about George Bush and the, you know, how we got into the Afghan war and after 9/11 and talking about consuming and all that kind of stuff. And his defense was, well, no, George Bush did, you know, tell the Americans to, you know, pray and grieve. No, he told them to, you know, he plays a clip and it says, you know, pray for those who grieve. What he should have done is pray for us not to be fucktards, revenge, warmongering assholes. That's what we should have prayed for if we want to pray for something. But anyway, the whole nonsense of praying for anything, that's not the fucking answer. But yeah, our reaction to 9/11 was shit, you know, and we're paying for it now financially and in a world that's going to be, you know, more troubled in the future because of it. We didn't pave a way to a better future through 9/11, that's for sure. They use kind of Israel as an example of something, and Israel's not an example of much of anything. I mean, it's a good demonstration of how to, you know, how to win and then, you know, lose, you know, while winning. Yeah, get American support and then act like complete assholes so you can make the rest of the world think you're not worth the trouble anymore. But anyway, I'm not getting to that subject. Alright, so the theme is this whole capitalism thing. She's making a simple kind of point that, yeah, we're all driven by a bunch of bullshit to do a bunch of bullshit. Okay, we compromise other people, we exploit them, we play this consumer game, this want game, and we really don't need this stuff. We buy half of it, and we just get caught up in these, you know, this theme of must have, and it's bullshit, and that we do it at a huge price. You know, it's very wasteful the way we create our whole industry. Our consumption is short-term focused, it's not long-term focused. It's got to be, we've got to live more sustainably. Like, this is somehow, for How the World Works guy, the sustainability, oh, that's not a good word. Or else he has some fucktarted notion. Well, he actually does. I'll quote him later. He actually thinks capitalism is sustainable. Anyway. Alright, so he makes lots of stupid points. I gotta speed this up. So he says 200 years ago we were a third world nation and now we're the wealthiest, and that somehow we got there through consuming. No, we got there through consuming, you idiot. And who has all that wealth? Has the wealth consolidated? Yes. Has the wealth been evenly distributed? No. It's quite obvious what's taken place. We exploited immigrant labor in this country, and then we went around the world. We started with South America, and we exploited the hell out of those people and out of their resources. And then, you know, now we're in China and all these other countries, fucking them over. And, you know, not only exploiting people, but exploiting environments, doing things that we wouldn't do in our own, you know, we're pooping in other people's stream, so to speak. It's not our drinking water, so we're shitting in it. And, you know, that's not a good plan. He just kind of ignores the whole subject of designed obsolescence, like it doesn't even exist, and there's nobody controlling anything, and there's nobody manipulating anything. Of course, there's monopolies out there. There's people with tremendous power that have too much power over how things will progress and what will happen. We saw what Microsoft did to all competition for a decade. So don't play that game. There's lots of waste. Even the way we package products, it's all part of marketing, and it's all, you know, there's just a ton of waste in this system. And to say it doesn't mean anything is just idiotic, and that's basically what he says. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much we waste. So there was an example that it takes maybe 2 tons of material waste in on a gold mine to produce 1 gold ring, you know, 1 gold wedding ring. And he just says, so what? And then he makes this idiotic statement, we're not running out of landfills. Well, I don't know, you paying a garbage bill? You know, it's only gone up a few 100% where I live. So in this area, we are running out of landfills. We're shipping our garbage to Pennsylvania. And apparently, some of us are having our garbage dumped off the coast of Africa because it seems like that's convenient. You know, dump it in somebody else's environment. And so that was just a ludicrous statement. I mean, how desperate are you for propaganda to say something that stupid? We're not running out of landfills? I mean, nobody wants that shit in their backyard. And for good reason, because we've seen what it does. It's just stupid. You know, waste is not meaningless. Filth is not meaningless. You know, putting crap in the ground that's going to take 200 years to degrade is not meaningless. It means something. So anyway, they made another statement like we consume because we consume more because we are wealthier, or we consume more recklessly because we're wealthier. And that's kind of stupid. We were pretty wealthy back in the 60s and 70s. At least the average person was pretty wealthy. But people didn't consume. They consumed, but they didn't consume as sloppily because we had different kinds of standards, and we had there was different structures in our civilization that kept things from getting out of hand. But waste wasn't the name of the game. The name of the game was people wanted things to last. They wanted to buy a durable product. They were sort of savers and investors in their future because we were a producer nation then, not a consuming nation. So it's just another stupid argument. Yes, so somehow that he's basically arguing that somehow our consumption has gotten wiser and fairer, and it's gotten exactly the opposite. The psychology of immediate satisfaction and gratification it's got to be dealt with. It's not it's not some imaginary thing. It's a real seduction for people. It's really hard to sacrifice now for a future. And so people will do things that are in the short-term interest, but they figure, well, I might be dead in 6 years, so I'm not going to invest in the 12-year plan. They only buy enough insurance to cover what they think their liability is. And we've sold out the future. We've seen the psychology in place in our own government, in our own democracies, where we create this huge friggin' deficit spending. And the only way that is possible is because there's a mentality that thinks somebody else is going to take care of the problem. And that's the nature of the beast, and there has to be some kind of force that tells the nature of the beast you can't get away with that shit. There's no free lunch. So yeah, like I said, this propaganda video has a lot of flaws. She goes too far. She overstates arguments. Yeah, one guy did not plan designed obsolescence. One guy did not, but marketing does have a history, and it's not a good history. We see businesses aren't about, he makes this stupid argument about advertisers and how they're trying to inform us of a product that's available. That's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to manipulate us, and often they're just flat out lying to us. I mean, you can't get anything. You can't even have a bank account now without 17 million paragraphs of tiny little text that you can't even read. So don't tell me that we're being told what's available, and that's what marketing is about. No, marketing is about deception most of the time, and fraud, outright fraud. There's a ton of it out there, and it's preposterously wasteful. We're paying all those bills. There's a per-click tax on everything you click on the internet, the Google tax, okay? Because people have to pay $1 for every time you click a link on a website. I mean, that's what it's coming down to. And there's nothing efficient about that. No, we should be able to there should be a straight line between producers and consumers. But the marketers have ensured that they can keep that line good and crooked and make a living. The middleman idea of your free markets is thriving. Okay, people get rewarded for bullshit. Snake oil works, you idiot. That's the history of free markets, is snake oil. Okay, people all know what that term is. I mean, the reason why it was a reality is because it worked. Okay, people are susceptible to people who will rip them off, and your free market without some regulation saying you can't do that ain't going to work, and it hasn't worked and it won't work. So he's sort of trying to turn this into some sort of argument. He, of course, the old standby, the old Hitler card kind of thing of the Soviet Union, had to bring that up. Like, yes, because somebody's advocating some sort of better society, they're automatically communists. And, it's just such a bullshit argument. And then, he's basically said that, yes, somehow she's making the argument that government should do everything. No, that's not even what she's saying. She's basically just making an argument to people that your psychology is bullshit. Don't be fooled by it. Don't sell out to this idea that you have to be part of this culture of consumption. So a lot of it is, even if she's using bad examples, the underlying theme is not a stupid theme. Maybe we should actually pay our way rather than borrow our way to the future. All right, he basically says there's no they manipulating markets, and of course we know that the rich have control over markets, that they're playing games with markets. There's all kinds of people engineering themselves a very lavish lifestyle, producing nothing of value in the free market.